I'm gonna offer my party some well-balanced low-level encounters which shouldn't challenge them too much, just give them a taste for the game. Wizards, what were you thinking? Hello everyone, Evan from MonkeyDM here. Today we're gonna talk about 5 of the deadliest D&D monsters by CR, meaning that these creatures are for low-level parties, but as you will soon come to realize, they can wipe the floor with them, something quite drastic too. So, first of all, let's start with the weakest one of the bunch, the Quickling, at number 5. It is a CR1 creature, which is a little fey, tiny little thing. The only issue is for a CR1, it gets 3 attacks, it has a +8 bonus to hit, all attacks against it have disadvantage, and it has 120 feet of movement speed. What? So you're telling me that this creature with a CR of 1.5 has more movement speed than a freaking ancient red dragon? What? It's absolutely insane. The way this creature fight is, first of all, it's got pretty good AC. So it's going to come in, stab you 3 times with its dagger, and then run away from you 120 feet. You're never catching up to it. And even if you try to get an attack of opportunity on it while it gets there, well, guess what? You got disadvantage on the freaking roll, and it's got a good AC too. Wizards? What? Why? So, yeah, now that creature is absolutely insane. It should not be that CR. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sure, it's got low HP, but, you know, the rest is absolutely bonkers. Anyway, moving on. This is what I would call the best low-level support creature for enemies. This thing will wreck your party. And I'm talking about the Rust monster. This is a staple of the D&D game, let's call it. It's been there since previous editions. And this little monstrosity has the nice ability, any non-magical weapon that hits it gets a -1 to damage and attack rolls. Basically the opposite of what a magic weapon does, right? Except that it stacks up to -5, and at -5 the weapon is completely broken. Now you might be wondering, that's not so bad. It's like, sure. Let's throw 4 of these bad boys on a party. The party's gonna attack them. They got some HP to tank the damage, meaning they're gonna need multiple blows. By the end of it, their weapons are gonna be -4 to hit, or -5, and in which case the weapon is completely destroyed, and your party is left just fighting with their bare knuckles. The damage output of your party is gonna be completely shattered because of these monsters. So if you have these little monsters as support, and like other monsters to go with it, you can easily wipe the floor with a level 3 party. Easily. Because at those levels, you don't have magical weapons. So your weapons just get completely destroyed and then there's nothing you can do. Fun. But they're actually fun to use. But I would not recommend using them on a level 1 party because they're going to cry. Because on top of that, they can also destroy the armor and the shield of the characters. Oh wow, you're in heavy armor and you have high AC. Would be a shame if something were to happen to it. So, what you're gonna want to do is go below and subscribe and hit the like button. And if you do so, I promise you, your next roll is gonna be a nat 20. 100% guaranteed. 50% of the time. More like 5% of the time. Now let's move on to the next one. Number 3. A CR1 baddie, the Shadows. Oh, I got a little story for this one. I had a party, bunch of newer players, and I was a pretty new DM myself, and the Shadows, if you're aware, was one of the first monsters that was printed alongside D&D 5e. So me, as a new DM, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna make them go in a cave, and then it's gonna be in a dark area, and there's gonna be shadows in it, because that makes sense, right? Like shadow monsters lurk in the shadows. Except that these monsters are invisible in the shadows, meaning that there's no way your party is going to be able to see them at low level, because those are CR1 monsters, remember. And on top of that, which just blows my mind, is that their attack, sure, they only get 1, but that attack reduces the strength of the character by 1d4. Meaning that that character is going to suffer on their attack roll if strength is their main source of damage, let's call it. But if strength isn't, so for example, you're a wizard and strength is your dump stat, so you have a total of 18 strength, well, in 2 hits you can die. Roll a 4 on both dice, and you're left with 0 strength, and what happens at 0 strength? You die. Outright. No save, no unconscious, no 3 death saving throws, no nothing. You're just dead. So imagine this. Me as a new DM, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a room with magical darkness, and the players are gonna go in it, and there's gonna be 2 shadows lurking in. The shadows go in, the wizard tried to cast the light cantrip in the room, which absolutely does not work as it is magical darkness. It's dispelled immediately as the room closed behind them and they're fighting in the dark. They can't locate the creatures because they're invisible. They just feel their life force being drained away. I can tell you it was this close to a TPK. So yeah, use shadows very, very carefully, because on my calculator, when I was calculating the balance of the encounter, it said medium difficulty encounter. So I was like, this is fine, they're just gonna trample it. Yeah, my ass. Trample it, my ass. They got their ass kicked. They had to run away far from that dungeon and just never come back. Like, they got terrified. It's just scars, trauma. Another Tier 1 creature. So this one is very fun because it has an insane AC. It has resistances to everything under the sun. Sure, it doesn't have a lot of damage, but it's got a flying speed of 50 feet, meaning that it can run away from your party quite easily, especially at low levels, because remember, it's CR1. And it's got this very fun ability where if someone falls unconscious at 0 hit point, they can force that creature to make a Constitution saving throw, and on a failure, that creature just dies. Woo! Yeah, it's a will-o-wisp, by the way. Will-o-wisp delight in inflicting pain and suffering upon your party and make you, as the DM, feel absolutely horrible, because what kind of creature got an ability which is like, you die now? Sierra 1, once again, Wizards of the Coast. It's like, I'm gonna offer my party some well-balanced, low-level encounters which shouldn't challenge them too much. Just give them a taste for the game. Be very careful with the will-o-wisps. Honestly, I just don't like using that monster at all as a DM, because it's really the ability, the main ability of the will-o-wisp is bonus action can force a creature to make a con save. On a failure, well, bad luck for you, you're dead. It just feels really not really fun at all. Like, there's nothing the player can do. It's just one con save. If you fail it, you die. It's not really fun. It's not really interactive. I really don't like the ability. I wouldn't recommend using that monster at all. I don't find it fun. Maybe you can let me know in the comments below something very fun about that monster that I didn't figure out on, or a way to use it that is kind of cool. But for a Tier 1 creature, that has nothing to do, because at level 1, characters, like first tier of play, characters don't have any way to revive dead party members, and you just have an ability which is like, you die now. Not very fun. I don't personally like it. And now, let's move on to number 1, which I think is one of the deadliest one, really. Even at high level of play, it can literally f*** up a party. And those would be the Intellect Devourers. Intellect Devourer. Devourer? Devourer? Devourer?
Devourer. Devourer.
Devourer. What they do have, they don't have the best AC or HP, which makes sense given their CR2. But what they do have is this terrifying ability called Devour Intellect, hence their name. What this ability does is it forces the creature to make an intelligence saving throw, and on a failure, their intelligence score is lowered by a dice roll. If the intelligence score goes to 0, the creature just falls flat out unconscious. Issue is, the dice roll is you roll 3d6, and you lower that intellect by that much. You can see where this goes crazy, because even a wizard with an 18 intellect, if they fail this intelligence saving throw, which is not likely, granted, but it might very well happen, if the Intellect Devourer rolls well, it can just wipe out the intelligence of the wizard, rendering him unconscious. And on top of that, they got another action which allows them to teleport inside the brain of the creature that is unconscious, replace that brain by themselves, so devour it, which renders that creature dead. So first of all, removes your intellect, second of all, goes in your brain, third of all, you're dead. Woo! Yeah, mind flayers, they're not to be f***ed with. So that's why I'm saying, even at high level, if you got like a fighter or a barbarian, classes that don't have good intelligence saving throws, those creatures can just wreck them super hard because they failed their intellect saving throw. They don't have a lot of intelligence to begin with, so the 3d6 are going to be super deadly to them, because if you get an 11 on an 18 intelligence wizard, well, he's still going to be alive, granted a bit dumber, but if you get it on an 8 intelligence barbarian, they just fall unconscious flat out, and now you got a Intellect Devourer piloting the body of an unconscious barbarian. So yeah, fun creature, I'd say. Wizards, what were you thinking? Ah! So, those were 5 creatures which are far deadlier than their CR would let you know. Thank you for watching. This is a video on how to be a better player. This is where you subscribe and leave a comment below. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. What do you want me to talk about next? That was Evan from MonkeyDM, and I'll see you next time.